Welcome to the Harnessing Happiness podcast. Upbeat vibes generated and transferred to you. Now here's your host, Sarah J Naylor.
Hello and welcome to Harnessing Happiness with myself, Sarah J Naylor. Thank you so much for coming on by and for joining me. I'm delighted to have you as my listeners. And today I'm even more delighted and really excited to have the fabulous Bev Francis and Susan Sims from Frock Up Friday with me. Now I'm going to hand over to them so that they can properly introduce themselves. Over to you, ladies. Please do introduce yourselves and what it is that you've been doing. And then I'm going to ask you lots of questions. I'm really super excited to ask you loads of things that my listeners I know will be dying to ask you too.
I'm Susan Sims, aka Sister Susie, and I used to live with Bev as her lodger. And Bev.
That's how the story started. I'm Bev Francis. Susie was my lodger, and I've done all sorts of things in my life, so lots and lots of stuff to talk about there as well. And we are also known, and have to be really careful how we say this, is the Mother Frockers.
The Mother Frockers, as in dresses, as in frocks people.
We both do loads of things, but essentially I moved out after 2 years of living with Bev and her husband Andy for 2 years, and I managed to leave home from the nest a week before lockdown, or the week of lockdown. It's all Bev's fault. So what we're going to do? Why don't we make a little private group and invite some of our friends to get out of our pyjamas and pretend like we're going to the pub, post a picture of what you're wearing and have a chat.
I'm just going to rewind on how we actually met though, because it is to do with frocking up as well. Yeah. We actually met dressed as pineapples.
Really? Oh my gosh. So how on earth did you actually ever meet dressed as pineapples?
If you can see behind me, there's a pineapple on the wall.
There is a very lovely pineapple
My
on the
house
wall.
happens to be covered in pineapples, and I was having a party and we called it the Pineapple Party, which I actually painted the house for the party. And Susie turned up to the party dressed as a pineapple. I was dressed as a pineapple.
I had a giant, foot-high papier-mâché, really crap pineapple on my head. and Bev was exquisitely dressed in a beautiful yellow frock and a handmade hairpiece, because she's a milliner.
I was going to say, yes, Bev is a milliner, isn't she?
And set the scene for how we would go on, really.
And that very night, I didn't know that Susie could sing, and we'd already had someone at the party, and I always feel really bad about saying this. This person asked if they could sing, and they were actually terrible. And so I hope they never listen to this podcast.
Fingers crossed.
And then Susie said, "Oh, can I sing?" And I thought, "Oh, here we go, another person who can't sing." And she sang and absolutely blew me away. She's an amazing singer, absolutely amazing singer. So our friendship sort of started there, but we still didn't know each other very well. And it was actually Facebook that brought us together, because she put a shout out on Facebook saying she needed somewhere to live urgently. My lovely lodger, who I adored, had just moved out, and I was like, I don't really want another lodger, because I adored my lodger. And then I saw the message and I said to Andrew, there's Susie, remember the girl that sang at the party? She needs somewhere to live. Shall we sort of say we've got this room and she can come and look at it? So she came to look at the room, but what she didn't tell me was...
I had got kicked out my last place because I'd set the place on fire.
Oh no! Oh my God! Now we're not talking about you being an arsonist, though, are we? Not. This isn't another sort of sideline that you've got.
Not at all. But I always imagined it was just a small fire. But I did actually meet her landlord very randomly, her ex-landlord very randomly recently, and no, it was an actual big fire.
Oh my God!
So if I'd known that, perhaps I wouldn't have invited her to move in.
Well, you obviously weren't meant to know, because all the stuff that's followed has obviously happened. So you must have known each other now, what, sort of 4.5, 5 years then, or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And the 2 years together was fantastic. I have to say, every Friday we always had fun dressing up, and that is actual truth. Susie would be going to gigs, she'd come downstairs and say, "What do you think of this?" We'd take photos. I would sew her sometimes into her costumes and hope they didn't burst open when she was on stage. stage. And I would dress up as well, because I've always liked to dress. So we'd compare outfits and things, and it was quite amazing, wasn't it? Every Friday we did dress up.
And your voice is just amazing. So that's your thing, isn't it? So you're a singer, and Bev, you're a milliner, because you make, create, produce. I want to say create wonderful creations, and that doesn't
She also sings in a band as well.
Yeah, I do sing in a band as well. I'm a backing singer though. I'm not a full-blown singer. I do the backing and play very strange instruments. For some reason, they gave me the slapper to play.
So what is the slapper? Is it the washboard?
It's kind of this weird block thing that you bang on your hand and it goes doing.
Is it like a wooden block with a slice through the middle of it?
Yeah, and it makes a sort of, I don't know, boinging noise.
I know quite a lot of strange influence, from umbiras to all sorts of different instruments. My ex-husband was in a band, and he played percussion as well as drums. So yeah, I do know. I love music, but I really, the singing side of it, people, Sarah, no. But it's amazing. So you both do sing, and you obviously both got this love of fashion. So even before you set up Frock Up Friday, then you were doing all this dress up on a Friday, and the frock up thing is just genius. So I mean, so you it was because of lockdown that you then set up this group, and the group, for the listeners, is called Frock Up Friday, and it's on Facebook, and you've got now something like about 14,000
just off of 15.
Yeah, it went to 10,000 members within the first 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Really? So how did it grow like that? What happened?
The reason why it doesn't grow as fast right now is because we had to put loads of rules in place to protect people's safety and to try and curb the amount of adminning it took, policing. But I think in the first instance, everyone just invited their friends. Everyone's kind of 6 degrees of separation. Everyone kind of knows somebody a little bit in there, because everybody invited their friends in. We invited 100 people, and they invited 100 people each or whatever. That's got to be how it happened, doesn't it? Because all of a sudden we would just get a new 90 members and a new however many a day. It was just good.
It was mad. And not only that, they were all posting as well. And I think that was the thing. It was suddenly like we're all going into this strange world where a lot of people were completely on their own. They're completely isolated. And actually Susie was, because she'd moved out. It kind of, I think, was almost a necessity for people.
Yeah, and it still is. Right? We thought it was only going to be for lockdown, but it's still as necessary now as it was then.
You have created such an amazing community, and a safe community. And as you said, you're being really mindful, and it's this sort of. I'm just trying to think of the best words to describe it, but it's a really caring community. It's really mindful, and it's supportive, and it's so envelopes and hugs. I mean, I think it's National Hugging Day today. Today or yes? Is it today? It's today, because you've done a post, because you do a weekly theme, don't you? And it's really interesting, because you get a lot of people that are in there that have been watching for a long time that then will post. And the essence of it is that you're encouraging people to dress up how they want to dress up, and it's a safe space for them to be that way. But it started out as that community spirit to make people feel that they weren't alone, wasn't it?
It's more about reaching out to people than it is about dressing up. The dressing up is like the hook for bringing people together. Mm-hmm. But actually, and I don't think we realised quite how powerful the whole thing of like bringing people together it would be. It's been a very powerful thing. And although we still hook it on the clothing, it is also about helping people out of situations, people putting their sort of personal lives out there once they've put their outfit on, and then they say, I like this dress because of blah, blah, blah. And you get their whole life story, which is really interesting.
Yeah, we didn't have any idea, because it was a get out of your pajamas thing. Let's meet up. It was essentially get out of your pajamas and put a frock on, blow dry your hair and shave your legs.
Not just the women you're talking about either.
It was a self-care, give yourself some love day. It's more than the community thing in the first instance, wasn't it? In the very first week, and then we realised people were showing their picture and spilling their guts, saying it's supposed to be my wedding today. I'm supposed to be going on holiday today. It's like, and then we were getting all these heartfelt stories. And once one person started doing it, the whole community started opening up, and we had no idea really.
People who put their funeral outfits on because they were going, either they were Zooming to go to a funeral, or they were actually allowed to go to the funeral, but there was only a couple of people. I feel they put their funeral outfits on there to share the fact that this was a life event that was very important to them, and they were sharing it. So that became very poignant and very... It felt very special for us that people felt they could share those moments, you know.
I see the post. I don't always interact. You can't always interact. You know, you're busy with other things, and obviously periodically will post with Gareth, and as you know, but it's just the array of people that you are able to reach out to using, as you say, outfits, clothing, dress up, as a vehicle for people to actually share their emotions, their emotional state, to have that support, to have that encouragement. And I know that you are, as you've mentioned, you've put rules in place. You've been very quick to curb anybody that might be, and police anybody that might be putting negative comments, or, you know, bringing people down, because there are people that are very, very vulnerable. And, you know, it's how somebody posts and how people react, and people get very, very... caught up with the reactions or non-reactions and things like that, and it's a hard thing. I mean, obviously you've created something wonderful, but you've obviously given yourself a big job as well, which you're doing, and it's all free, isn't it? You know, it's your time that you are taking up to look after and nurture nearly 15,000 people, which, oh my gosh, ladies. That's awesome.
It wasn't what we signed up to do, but it's been rewarding for us as well, because actually we have made some really true friends out of this ourselves, and we've had experiences we wouldn't have had. So for us, it's been an amazing thing, and I think for us too, as a friendship, it's brought us together.
It has, and even just on a life level, you know, I'm applying for jobs recently, and to say that we've run this online community and published a book and created a 3-day festival, like, thinking outside of the box, it's quite massive when you look at it.
It's huge. I don't think you really have. I don't know whether you actually have really stepped back and realised what you have created, and you've got so many options of what this could become and grow and continue to be for you both.
Yeah, you're right about the time and that it's free and things like that. It is an awful lot of pressure, and found ourselves having to readjust to keep that happiness level that your podcast is about in the right place, and ask for help. I've taken a big backseat in how often I'm in the group, because it's causing my mental health some damage, and having to reprioritise my time and not feel the guilt that I feel from not commenting on every post, because Bev and I made a real point of commenting on every person and going through it minute by minute for all week, going through it minute by minute through the group, so that there wasn't a person who posted and didn't get a comment or didn't get a love heart, or, you know, and so they didn't feel left out. So it's an awful lot of guilt to carry.
Yes, and that's where you have to put boundaries into place. And as you say, doing what you've done is stepping back. And as you said, it's shifting. In fact, I've just created a post actually on LinkedIn today, and last year when I reflected back, I realised what I'd done myself through lockdown, and I you know, with what you've done is, in all that you've done already and created with the group in the first instance, and obviously what you've done just recently, you have to take that stop, accept what you can and you can't do, and change your perspective and change how you sort of operate and channel your energy accordingly, because obviously it's grown to the point now that you've got to do that, for your own sort of your own happiness, your own mental well-being. You can't be in there because you've created something that's grown so big. If it had been 100 members, you could still do that, but it's not. So then, I know you were putting out a call out, and you were creating and putting together more people to work from an administrative perspective, so that support was still there, and that's how it evolves, isn't it? And you've got to put those boundaries into place.
When we're doing things like we've just organised, we just had a meeting last night in a venue for our next festival.
When is it going to be, ladies?
It's the 2nd and the 3rd of September, so it's the same weekend as last year.
Oh, get it in the diary. Gareth and I will be there this year.
The amount of time that takes is extraordinary. Yeah. The work that went into the book and the festival, trying to do the group at the same time is on top of your normal trying to earn a living and you know, have a new relationship or whatever. You know, things have got to give. So yeah, we're really excited about that, and we're really excited to get some new Frocking ambassadors on board.
People have already applied, so we'll hopefully next week let everybody know. But obviously, when this goes out, they'll already know. But I think it's a fantastic thing to do, because we have made real genuine friends, and we've got people who are going to be moving to our hometown because they've enjoyed Frock Up Friday so much. So we've done quite wonders for the town.
You've created relationships as well, haven't you? There's several people that have got together because of Frock Up Friday, and I've just done a podcast with Charlie Plunkett, who I'd have never have met had it not been for Frock Up Friday, and the communities and the connections and the relationships that you two have created and generated is absolutely awesome.
I'm really quite excited about the relationships that we can build with our new helpers when we get them as well, because if they can be as excited as we've been in spreading the ethos of the group, which is to be free thinking, unique and fabulous, be more fun.
Yes.
They can reach out a bit further and bring some new suggestions and, more meetups and things like that around the world. Because we do have Frockers in Australia, Israel, Canada, Tenerife, they're everywhere.
Well, my podcast has got a very big audience in India, so hopefully you'll have a few more people in India joining. You have to, as you are doing, shift and adjust, because it is growing, and that is how it is evolving, and it's always about sort of that constant change. I mean, I have trademarked my APE mindset methodology now. And, if I can just get people to think APE, because it is that acceptance, perspective, energy, you can apply it to anything. And as soon as you start to adjust and you go, right, well, actually, this isn't working for me anymore. How can I sort of change things and channel your energy, which is exactly what you're doing, which is awesome.
Absolutely. It's been quite massive recently for me, and personally anyway, to have to do that readjustment thing.
That's part of personal development, isn't it? And as you do that, and you grow as a person, like you were just saying, you've been for an interview this morning, and you can sort of talk about that, and it's empowering, and you can feel, you own it. It's brilliant.
It's good.
But also, just putting it out there as well, I think you ask people for help, it's quite often how you connect with people as well, because we're all a little bit nervous about asking for help. And when we do ask for help, I think then you make real connections with people, and those people become really important in your lives, because I think when you ask people to help, they like helping and they feel valued as well. So it's kind of like great for everybody.
Yeah, a shared energy.
That's it. I mean, it's about helping people up. It's not about going back down to their level to sort of be there with them. It's you've made that progression. You've lifted and raised your vibrational frequency and who you are, and you're attracting people in who want that help. And I think it's just absolutely incredible, the work that you are doing and you continue to do with Frock Up Friday. I mean, really, I think that the Facebook group is still only just the start of it, because as you said, you did the festival last year, which we would have come to, but we were already at a wedding, and which was great because we joined you on a live stream, so that was awesome. That was fantastic. I mean, it's just brilliant. I mean, there must be people within the group as well that can help with all of this, apart from the people that you're getting on board as ambassadors. So I bet there's a lot of people that can bring something to the table and help it just sort of grow, and as you said, sort of really spread it globally. Yeah. What's your vision for, Frock Up Friday? What is your big vision?
Well, funny enough, I think we don't we've never had a plan, and that's, I think, why the whole thing has gone as it has, because even with the book, we didn't have a plan really to make a book. It was just one of the local shops said, wouldn't it be great if you made a coffee table book? And then we made a coffee table book, which was a bit of a surprise to both of us. And I think it's quite nice just to see how it flows and how things progress rather than having a massive plan.
Yeah, like the festival only came about because we didn't get a chance to have the small, but there's going to be a bit bigger book launch to have a book launch, but it accidentally turned into a 3-day festival. And so, we have had a couple of other thoughts, but if we were really business-like about it and looked for making money and things, I think we both agree it would have taken away the integrity of the group and the ethos of the group a little bit. So Yeah, we haven't been very forthcoming in that way, but it's kept it nice and natural, and we could have had advertising, we could have had different things to make money, and yeah, we've got a bit of merch, but we don't make any money. We're supporting local businesses with these things.
Yes.
The books, that was all, they were all made locally, they were printed here locally, the designer lives here. We're just about helping people really and spreading the joy in the community. We've not been about any forward-thinking business plan, at least anyway.
What I'm hearing and what I love is the fact that you're going with your instinct and you're following your flow, and things, sort of the monetization potentially, because at the end of the day, you both could work in it full time if it was monetized, that you were actually getting an income from it in some way. And but I bet that will evolve in a period of time. I mean, with my podcast, it's me funding my podcast. I pay for it. I don't earn any money from it. The option that is available to have advertising and things like that on it, and to me it just doesn't feel right. I'd like to be able to, for my listeners, just to be able to tune straight in, and it's not cluttered with advertising. I just want, here I am. And I think that's great that the values that you've got and the integrity that you've got, I mean, that shines through. I mean, and you radiate that sort of happiness out with all the stuff that you're doing. Both of you, what makes you happy people?
Go ahead, Bev.
It's a really difficult one, isn't it? I mean, for me, I had a moment a few years back where I was really ill, and they say it's an epiphany moment and you have to grab life and live it. And it didn't happen like that, but I think gradually I realised that it's really important to just find people who bring you joy in your life. Don't hang around with the people that don't bring you joy. I did this thing for a year where I thought, I'm not going to say no to things. So I said yes to going out, and because I hadn't been going out for a long time. I'd been a teacher for a long time, and so therefore teaching life, you spend all of your time working. And I just started saying yes to things. So just having experiences and doing new things and trying stuff out, and some of it was great, some of it wasn't my cup of tea, but it was just like an opening to discovery, really, and just being open to new ideas and new things. And I'm the same as everyone else, I get down about things, but also it's nice just to say, yeah, I'm going to try this, and I'm going to go and do that, and I'm going to work at this festival which I've never done before. I'm going to and yeah, just have really sort of strange experiences. And I'd always wanted to write, and someone said to me, oh, do you want to join this local writing group? So I joined, and I'm not a brilliant writer, but I really enjoyed being able to do some writing and just experimenting in sort of like things that perhaps you thought you might like to do and haven't. And I just think it's just a continuous path of trying to learn stuff. And I did go skiing, and I absolutely hated it, by the way.
But the thing is, you did it and you tried it and you found out, and I love that ethos. I mean, I just want to echo that sort of saying yes to everything, because it's actually 17 years now since I divorced my ex-husband after a 20-year relationship, and I'd not been out socially for 6 years. My life looks nothing like the life I used to lead, and I've recreated it completely. But when I left, and eventually I moved back in with my parents, with my son, sharing my old bedroom with him when he was 6 years old. And I actually started to have weekends. I'd never had a weekend, never had time, never had a social life of my own forever. And I said yes to things. I mean, there weren't many things to say yes to be fair. I was going up to sort of, and going out with my parents, but through that saying yes, it starts to open doors. You start to meet more people. You start to do different things. So I totally echo what you're saying. And there's that development that comes along the way. So it's yes, saying yes to stuff. What about you, Sister Susie?
I'm a firm believer in the saying yes thing as well. And like you just asked about Frocking Friday, I seem to have got through my 43 years of without a plan, and just by saying yes, and they're going, do you want to come and do a set here? Yeah, I'll come and do that. Do you fancy doing this? And I've lived all over the place, like yourself, since I got divorced. I've had the most crazy 12, 13 years and been all over the world. I have not earned a penny.
I'm very good at at that.
But you've enjoyed life, yes.
Cleaning toilets to support myself and I cycle like 15 miles a day to different people's houses and stuff. And then pretend like I'm glamorous at the weekend and some glamorous singer, and I'm really not. It's really beautiful to learn to say no as well. You know, it's the most fantastic thing to say actually no. And a friend of mine recently said she was in a talk one day, kind of a motivation talk, and it said when you want to have a day off, especially if you're self-employed, to write busy in your diary. So when someone calls you and says, can you do this day? And you go, oh no, sorry, I'm busy that day. And you're like, yes!
It's back to those boundaries that we were talking about a while back, isn't it? Because it's about self-preservation. You can't carry on helping everybody else if you're empty. You know, you've got to look after yourself first and foremost. And actually, you know, when you do start to get busy, when things do build up, it's about then to sort of carve it back and reshape it. I always like to think about it like throwing clay on the wheel. You know, you put loads on, don't you, to start with, and you pad it all out, and then you gradually shape it, and then you refine it, and then maybe you get down to the detail, and maybe then you took it all away and start again.
And you're allowed to change. I listened to a podcast recently. I'm forever listening to psychology and philosophy, and they were talking about priorities.
Excellent.
And how to know what you want. And it's a really great podcast because it said, you know, at times your priority is going to change, your focus. For example, if you wanted to be a nurse from when you were a child, then you'd spend your whole life training for it, or a doctor, and that's your life forever. But at some point your mother gets sick, and all of a sudden your head priority is like, no, I'm not doing that, I need to look after my mum first. And to just keep looking after those top 5 things. I went for a run this morning before my interview because I need to feel awake and alive. It's my favourite thing to get out of breath. I know you love it, Sarah, as well.
Yes, oh no, I love getting out running, and I'm envious because I bet you're running along by the sea.
But it's the first time. I only ran once last year because I broke my leg. I had COVID twice. I had a really bad year. So it felt great this morning, but before a bit of a life change thing. But yeah, I do the job that I do, the cleaning, so I can, if a job comes in and I'm to fly to Paris on Friday, I can call Judith and say, sorry, I can't do your toilets today, and then come out next.
I'm performing in Paris instead.
And then all of a sudden, I'm not singing anymore because of COVID very much. So it makes made my Monday to Friday a little bit pointless, apart from Frock Friday, of course. So, but I'm not feeling challenged or successful in my own self. So hence the bit of the life change going on, and it feels great to be just putting a foot in the right direction somewhere else. It just feels wonderful doing something for yourself, just doing a course, doing a new job, going for a run, whatever it is.
And I'm just going to interject and say, having said yes to everything, the one thing I did say no to was when I was a teacher. I have no regrets in life apart from the fact that I didn't see my children enough, my own children, because I've got 3, and because when I was a teacher, I spent all of my time teaching and working at weekends and just being really busy, and I actually said no because I just walked out of my job. I didn't have another job to go to, and I just had that moment of like, this is not the life I want to live. So times in life when you do have to say no, I'm just going to not do this anymore. And I was very lucky because I have got a partner who works, so he was able to support me in that. It wasn't really his choice, actually. I just came home and told him I'd done it.
It's making those decisions, and if you feel it and you listen to your instinct, you listen to your gut, because if you don't, you can end up unwell, and you can end up with physical ailments, or physical and mental issues and things like that if you aren't listening and you aren't taking note, and these things carry on happening until you stop. I mean, all the stuff I think around sort of COVID and how it's impacted on people's lives, because I've got a recruitment business and I've been in recruitment since 1987. And people have shifted. There's been a massive change in the whole world of recruitment as people have kind of left jobs that they've been in for life, and they've taken career changes, or they've decided to sort of go self-employed. All nature of things that have really impacted on the recruitment market. But I love hearing and empowering people to do that change, because as you were saying, so you can go along that path, and then you go, actually no, like stepping out this morning, going for that run before your interview, you recognise, you're listening to all these podcasts, you're on that shift. It's all of these things have sort of fallen into place to make you sort of take stock, to look back, to shift, to change your mindset and approach things in a different way. And it goes on to a different, I'm going to struggle with this one, trajectory. I have certain words I struggle with, like dynamism as well. I can't do that. But that, because it then pushes you down a different direction. And we all have choices at any given time. And it's the choices that we make today that impact tomorrow. And how we think today can impact what has gone before. And
somebody said to me, what's your agenda in life? And I was really perplexed by the word agenda, because I just thought, agenda in life, do I have an agenda? And I thought, no, I don't really have an agenda apart from trying to be as happy as I can.
Yeah.
And that's my agenda. And I think if you've got an agenda to be like really wealthy, or you want a big car or whatever, I don't think those are great things to aspire to.
It's not very healthy, is it?
No.
Well, I don't think it is. If that's your thing, then go for it.
But just to wake up and look at the sunshine and just go, it's a lovely day, and I'm going to go and swim in the sea, or whatever. It's those are the things that, like, I think my agenda is just to have nice days where you can just go and sit on the beach when the sun's going down and just admire it. And I do bore all my friends with all of the photos that I take of the sun going down.
I'm with you. I mean, I've been out on trail runs these crispy mornings, with the sun just burning through the sort of 0-degree skies or -degree skies. And I've just been taking the photographs of the sunrise. I mean, it's just been stunning, absolutely gorgeous. And I'm totally with you. And I think it's all the inner work. It's about who we are internally. And I think the world has been caught up in this sort of avarice and greed. And money. Let's face it. The money makes the world go round, and you need money. It's an energy exchange at the end of the day. And we need money to exchange to be able to do the things that we have. And when we have got money, we can help and support other people. But it's not for me, again, like yourselves. It's not about I need to earn all of this money. And I've been in groups in this last sort of 8 months, last year, a good 6 months of last year. And it was it all got to me felt a bit toxic in the end, because it's all about 10 grand launches and this, that. Then I'm going, no, I can't. It's got to come from here. Yes, the money will follow if you're in alignment with what you're doing. And I'm not saying money is a bad thing, because we need it to exchange. Otherwise, we won't be able to buy anything, But equally so, I think it's about that happiness that you've just been alluding to, which is hence the podcast, Harnessing Happiness. It's spreading that globally, because once you're happy, if you have that positive mindset. I mean, in fact, how have you? I mean, I was going to ask you that question, but you've obviously used your positive mindsets to overcome things, because look what you created with Frock Up Friday. You've really done that and brought that in that community.
Yeah, it is. But the overcoming thing, like I feel it, like you said, if you're in a bad place mentally, it actually makes you feel physically ill. It affects your whole entire self. You certainly have to put yourself out there in plenty of situation for things to arise. People often call me really lucky, but there's a fine line between lucky and being in the right place at the right time. You have to put yourself out there to have the luck happen to you almost.
Yeah, I'm 57, and 2 years ago someone asked me to be in a band, and I can't sing either. I have had lessons now. But like, to be my age and go and be in a band is like a very strange thing to do. But I just thought, yeah, why not? Let's have a go. And it's really fun to do something creative. And I think, you just have to sometimes just be really brave. And like, I'm aware that when I'm standing on stage, I'm not really young and I'm not in that kind of hit. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter though, does it?
I'm doing something that I'm thoroughly enjoying. And I think, it's really important that people just don't think about their age, and they don't think about what they look like, but they just feel.
I'm totally with you. It's about, I'm 56, I'll be 57 this year as well, and I just think, I'm going to grow old disgracefully, but actually it's not disgracefully. It's about having a good time. And I think the older you get, the wiser you get, and the more you accept yourself, and like I said, that's coming back to that acceptance as well. But you're talking about sort of taking action, and that's very much the law of attraction. And there's in my book I use a quote that Rob Moore uses, which is the law of attraction without action is a distraction. Basically, it's no point sitting in front of Coronation Street or whatever soap opera you're watching going, right, well, I'm going to be a millionaire tomorrow, or I'm going to be X, Y, Z, or this is what's going to happen in my life, then sit there and wait. You have to put things into place. You have to be tuned in. You have to notice when opportunities arise, and you have to act upon them. So it's like you were saying, if somebody's saying, do you want to do this? You've got the opportunity to say yes or no. But if you are wanting to expand into a certain area, it's recognising that and going, wow, yeah, that's great. It might not be what you thought, but it might be a stepping stone towards.
Yeah, I know that your podcast called Harnessing Happiness, but I really believe that you have to have the down times to appreciate those good times and to just sit in it. If you're upset, just have the cry, eat the chocolate, and that sort of thing. And you don't force yourself to have to feel happy all of the time. I quite enjoy that. I had a bit of a down weekend last weekend and didn't really do much. And I really felt great on Monday because I'd given myself the time to sit in it. It was fantastic.
Yeah. If you realistically say, I never feel down, I never feel uncomfortable, I never feel unhappy, or I don't wake up in the morning and think, oh God, I look frumpy today or whatever. We all do that. But it's like we have to feel those things to have the empathy to support other people as well. And I think that's with Frock Up Friday. Both of us do feel things quite a lot. We do have a lot of empathy because we both feel with our hearts.
But we're human, aren't we? We're human, and that's it. I mean, it's about that feeling. And I mean, I remember going back to my divorce, and I think I was working through a breakdown at the time, and my mum was saying, well, have some of these antidepressants. And I'm like, I don't really want, well, all right, I'll have a quarter. And I could feel it doing horrible things to my body. And it's like, no, I would rather feel the pain of all of this. I mean, that's me. And, I'm not, and other people will, use, medication in different ways. But I like to feel it. I like to go through it. I like to experience it, like you were saying. And, because you have those down. I mean, when I don't have them very often, but when I do have, I allow myself that time, as you've said, Susie, just to sort of almost wallow in it and go, do you know what? I know I'll kick myself into touch in the morning. Let me just have this time where I'm feeling crap, because then the next day's going to be, let's get up and out of it. But it's acceptance again. It's that acceptance of where you're at and going, do you know what? It's okay to feel like this, and I am going to just fill my face with whatever, or I am going to go and do what makes me feel just feeling in tune with your body. It's just aligning with it. So what top tip? Well, we've already done some tips actually. We've got quite a lot of tips going on. Say yes and accept yourself. And any other to finish? Any other sort of top tips you would give to the listeners?
Gut instinct and following your heart. Our mind shouts at me, but sometimes people don't know what that is. If you're doing something and it feels completely wrong, it's okay to not do it. Or if you're around someone who feels completely wrong, it's okay not to call them ever again. Go with your gut instinct. It really is there. It really works.
Yeah. And just going on to the frocking thing, just for support of everybody, I just feel like people should be able to wear what they want to wear, project who they want to be, and it doesn't matter who you are, and just not feel like you're being judged for what you wear. And I actually personally love to dress up because that's the way I feel confident when I leave the front door. So for me, it is a confidence thing. And I know that some people think occasionally that I dress over the top. I had comments when I was a teacher about it, but for me, it's important that I just projected how I felt and wanted to be. And I think everyone in the group should feel, if they want to wear sparkles on a day that's not sparkly, then wear sparkles. And, for all the transgender people there, just be what you want to be. And it's like, I don't want to question the politics of anything like that. I just want to people to just feel that they are who they are and they want to be that. And if they're really creative, be creative. If you just want to wear your floral dress and show us that it's your floral dress that you love, then we're really happy with that as well. It's like just the beauty in everyone is there, and just shine who you are.
I love what you've said then, because that's something that it's part of what I do. I love to empower people to be themselves, to connect with their authentic true self, and to embrace that, and embrace all your sort of kinks, your foibles, your wrinkles, your whatever it is, just to be yourself. And whether that's how you dress, who is it that makes the rules of what we should and we shouldn't wear? That's what, and I just think, as you've just said, it's wear what makes you feel good. Just wear it. Whatever you want to wear that makes you feel good, wear it. And actually, if you feel good just wearing a pair of sloppy jeans, that's fine. It's whatever you feel good in. I had a personal stylist when my last relationship broke down 6.5 years ago now, and I'd been talking to her. It was being booked, funnily enough, before it all broke down, and it was just within a few week window. And it's like, right, well, here we go, off we go. And I'd been working from home in sort of yoga pants and clothes that I'd bought from a local shop that had been sold to me that weren't my shape or anything like that. So I went out with her and suddenly learned what shapes and things that fitted me. And that made such a big difference to me, just to know what I'd lost my way. I'd completely lost my way, as I have done with this thread of thought as well now. But it is about, embracing that and finding what works for you, and just enjoying clothes. And I love the charity shops. I know there's been quite a lot going on in the group just recently about charity shop buys, and it's great because that's it's very sustainable. You're not buying lots of new stuff.
I actually love fashion. I love design myself because I come from that field. That's what my degree was in jewellery design, and so I love all of that design thing. But I've never enjoyed the thing that you're only worthwhile if you've got a Gucci bag or a Versace dress. I think if you've got a Versace dress and you've got it in a charity shop, well, brilliant. But I just
Yes.
feel like it's really important that people can just go to a charity shop or go to any kind of shop and just put things on and put them together and just feel how they want to feel in that, and just feel good about themselves. With lockdown, it was just get out of your pyjamas, put some lipstick on, and just for the day think it's Friday, I'm going to get that weekend feeling, even though we're not actually allowed to leave our house, but we can actually share a look together, or quite often we'd all be with a drink, wouldn't we?
Yeah, indeed. And we were talking last week, and you just said, Sarah, about wearing sloppy jeans, if that makes you feel comfortable as well. I mean, I adore just putting on I wear baggy hippie trousers all the time, or I'm out cycling in my lycra all the time, and I don't bother. Loads of times I don't bother with myself, and I still feel great because I'm out there doing my thing. It's not a top of my priorities.
I actually think, when you've got really good friends, because they can turn up and you can be I wear caftans a lot. That's my go-to sort of hanging around thing. And they can turn up and I'm in a caftan and I haven't brushed my hair, and then you can still have a nice time with those friends. That's when you've got really good friends, because it doesn't matter what you look like and what you're projecting, because they know the real you. And I think clothes can help you project what you want for that day, but it's feeling comfortable and happy in your skin is the thing, really.
Yeah, it's adapting and adjusting. And as I say, I mean, I've turned up on Facebook without any makeup, pulling fully silly faces when I'm out trail running, and equally so, I'll join the group and be completely dressed up, as we know. So for the listeners, I have actually dressed up to record this podcast, even though nobody can see me. And the ladies, lovely Bev and Susie, are both dressed up as well. So how do people get in touch with you both?
We've got a website, Frock Up Friday website, or they can email us at frockupbook@gmail.com.
Yeah, the Frock Up website is literally frockupfriday.com as well.
Sorry.
Yeah. And on Facebook as a page, Frock Up Friday, which is a public page. We just use that to share some stories and themes. But the actual Frock Up Friday group we've been talking about is a private group. It's private so people can share their inner thoughts, so they can share clothes they don't normally wear in public, etc., etc.
Oh, ladies, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. And it's just been a real joy to have this opportunity to meet with you and talk with you. And we will be getting the Frock Up Friday Festival into our September diaries. It's just been an absolute pleasure and joy. And you're doing amazing things with the group and all that it's evolved and how you've supported people. Just so thank you on behalf of everybody that's in the group and everybody who's going to be in the group in the future. It's been an absolute pleasure. So if you've enjoyed this episode, listeners, please do tune in. Please do join the Frock Up Friday group and please do rate and review and follow and subscribe, because the more we can spread happiness globally, the better. So this has been me, Sarah J Naylor, even harnessing happiness. Thank you so much for listening, and take care and have a wonderful day.
Thanks for listening to the Harnessing Happiness podcast with Sarah J Naylor. If you took value from the content, please follow the show on your podcast app. And to find out more about Sarah's ape mindset, visit sarahjnaylor.com. That's